Traffic may be locked, but savings isn't. Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile with unlimited wireless for just $25 a month forever. No contracts, no hikes, and you keep your phone. Unlock the savings at boostmobile.com/unlock. $25 forever requires customers to remain active on Boost Unlimited Wireless Plan. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Have you ever been stuck on a weight loss plateau? Trying everything and anything you can to lose that extra weight and reach peak health? We've all been there, but Noom's unlocked the secret to reaching the mountaintop. Go in micro. The Noom GLP-1 microdose program starts at $99 and is delivered to your door in 7 days. Start your microdose GLP-1 journey today at Noom.com. That's Noom.com. Noom. Micro changes, big results. Noom GLP-1 RX program involves healthy diet, exercise, and support. Individual results may vary. Meds and personalization based on clinical need. Not reviewed by FDA for safety, efficacy, or quality. No affiliation with Novo Nordisk Inc., the only U.S. source of FDA-approved semaglutide. Not available in all 50 U.S. states. Disordered eating messaging is all around us. You can hardly leave your house or check your phone without seeing something about dieting, weight loss, or exercise. With all that pressure, it can be hard to recognize habits have become harmful or even an eating disorder. If you're concerned you or a loved one might have an eating disorder, I want to introduce you to Equip. Equip is a fully virtual, evidence-based eating disorder treatment program that helps patients achieve lasting recovery at home. Every Equip patient is matched with a multidisciplinary care team that includes a therapist, dietitian, medical provider, and mentors, and you get a personalized treatment plan that's tailored to your unique goals and challenges. Equip treats patients of all ages and all eating disorder diagnoses. It's covered by insurance, and there's no wait list. If you think that you or a loved one could be struggling with an eating disorder, don't wait to get help. Visit equip.health to learn more. That's equip.health.
Welcome to Aran Island Discs, a podcast series where we talk to Irish people from different walks of life as they reflect on their own journeys. Join me, Russell McDermott, as we explore the many aspects of Irishness and what it means to each of our guests through life's ups and downs. Aidan Browne, welcome to Aran Island Discs. Now, first question for you is, have you been to Aran Islands, or is this your first trip?
Well, I'm going to answer it the same way, Rossa, as I did, or at least when I was speaking with the first female astronaut to walk in space, Kathy Sullivan from Cleveland, Ohio. I recruited Kathy to the board of the Smurfit Business School. Oh gosh, probably 15 years ago. And I asked her, had she ever been to Ireland? And her answer was no, but I've seen all of it. I've crossed the Atlantic, Rossa, probably 200 times. They'd be round trips, so it makes it 400. And a lot of the flights going in over into Dublin would fly over the Aran Islands. It'd be my first taste and flavour of being home, as it were. How about yourself?
I've been there 3 times, and each time the weather has been super. No rain, twice sun splitting the stones, and the water looked turquoise blue, great for a swim. And I now would be afraid to go back, Aidan, just in case I was windswept into the Atlantic by mistake off Dunangus. So I've got that image in my head, and that's partially the reason for the title of this podcast. So it takes me back to that place. So it's worth a visit. You should do it. And if you listen to your friend Kevin Cullen, he has a rake of stories about his trip.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. The end of the rainbow outside of Dublin for me, Rossa, is down in the southwest. Been a long time frequent visitor to the Ibera Peninsula, which is down to started in Ballinskelligs, where my neighbour growing up, his grandmother was from Ballinskelligs, and I went to visit with him for a number of summers for about a month. And more recently, when I say more recently, when I started my golf expeditions to Ireland, they were always down to the southwest, and Waterville has become a home away from home for me. It's and for the family, in fact. My son and I, Sam, he was now 40. When he was 13.
Say that again. Sam is now 40. Oh my God.
Yeah, Sam is 40. And when he was 13, I took him over to the father and son golf tournament in Waterville. And we haven't, other than for COVID, we haven't missed a year. So 27 years. It's a phenomenal event run by the Carr family. Marty Carr and his various brothers. And it's half the field is American, half are Irish and UK, and actually now from all over the world. There are families that come from Brazil and India, etc. But we've been engaged with
Did you know Dave Foley? Did you?
Yeah.
Dave was a good friend of mine. God rest him, and I think he won it with you, didn't he, one year?
Oh, they walked away with it. Hugh is such a magnificent golfer and a fellow Royal Dublin man. I've been playing my Dublin golf at Royal Dublin, was actually inducted into the Hall of Honorary Members the same day as Brian O'Driscoll. So, I mean, it couldn't get any better than that.
He's called Bod. What are you called? AFB? Is that what they call you?
Yeah, you got it. So this, you've been out of Boston for a long time, Rossa, but I'll have to say, your name frequently appears and in conversation over pints of Guinness.
Yeah.
And
you reckon?
I think you're actually missed in some small way,
You shouldn't be talking to police regularly, because I'm sure that's the only place my name comes up. And how do you describe yourself, Aidan? Your immigration papers, going visiting, passport. What are you in your mind in real life?
That's a great question. More than half my life has been here in the United States. Came to the States in the 70s when I was in college and fell in love with the place. I was the planter's peanut on the boardwalk in Atlantic City.
Did you do that?
I was an elevator operator in the Biltmore Hotel. Had the great distinction of elevating Miss Nude America. She was there for a pageant.
What year was that, Aidan?
1976. Wow. It was the second year of Jimmy Carter's presidency. So I thought peanuts and nuts and all of that was appropriate industry to be trying to develop.
No, I worked at Atlantic City in 1981 in the Irish pub just off the boardwalk.
Oh, well, my apartment was just down the road beside the Flanders.
Flanders, it's gone now, I believe, the Flanders.
That's incredible. There's a
do you remember the automated car parking machine? Do you remember down the boardwalk? The car used to roll around. Yeah.
Hey, Rossa, I remember the diving horse on Steel Pier.
That's right.
I tortured. There was a little arcade with live animals in cages, and if you put a quarter in, you got it dropped some sort of feed, nuts or something. I drove this duck mad that summer. The duck would, when you put your quarter in, the duck would strut over to a tiny little piano and bang his beak off the notes. And it just entertained me for hours. So there you go. There's the depth of my intelligence right on display.
But then you end up being what you call yourself an attorney now. Is that what you?
That's it. Yeah. No, attorney at law. How about that? Mm. The history largely was scraped away with a really poor leaving cert. In fact, had to repeat the leaving. And even in the repeats, I had one honour from the first time round, and I needed two to get into UCD, into either arts or commerce. But I wanted to get into commerce, and I repeated. And unfortunately, that wasn't all that successful. I didn't really apply myself in the repeats, but did appeal those results. And lo and behold, I got a letter from Ryan Idricus that said, we've elevated one of your scores. I think it was in botany from a D to a C.
Bingo.
And then, so the rest is history. You know what I mean? Things in life, it's extraordinary, these little things that occur, and they're so determinative of where you end up. So I did the BCom, came to the States during the summers and enjoyed that, really fell in love with the States. So I had a great ambition to come back. But my family also had a great ambition to get me back. And my brother-in-law, who is partner at Beecham's Solicitors, offered me an apprenticeship, which was, that was gold, absolute gold dust. You very, very difficult. There were relatively few solicitors in Ireland at the time. And when you took on an apprentice, you were tied up for 3 years. So that left very little opportunity to get an apprenticeship. But Tommy, fortunately, and he was magnificent. Tommy was an amazing master. Actually put a desk inside his own office, which I sat at. And I learned so much from him on how to interact with clients, how to deal with issues and problems and situations that arise within a law firm. And so did that. And it was a fabulous experience at Beecham's, which at the time was the merger of three firms. And the class of apprentices the year I joined there was 14, which is extraordinary in terms of numbers, because even in today's world of large, big law in Dublin, the likes of A&L Goodbody, who I've been a consultant with for about 30 years now, A&L wouldn't, but they might take in 14 apprentices in any given year. Yeah. But it was a fabulous class, really interesting folks, all went on to do significant and amazing things. But
to hear you describe those years in the 70s, if anybody heard us talking now, Aidan, given the Ireland that exists today, that would sound like absolute poppycock. The fact there was no legal business and you were lucky to get an apprenticeship, etc., etc.
Yes, it's amazing how different the world is today. We earned £15 a week, and there was always a scramble between the apprentices to get the job to run across the Liffey. We were down at Dollard House in the Keys, and we had to run across to another law firm to get the commissioner for owed signatures and documents. Yeah. But you got paid. You got, I think it was £50 or something for a signature, and that was your drink money, which most of it went in the Viking pub. So in that then forged some very, very close, very strong relationships with that apprenticeship class. Pierce Megan and I, in particular, we were both down in Lansdowne as well. One of the things I probably regret not doing was playing rugby for UCD, but I went from school down to Lansdowne and played junior rugby down there. But Pierce and I teamed up, and because there was little or nothing going on, we were both encouraged and ambitious to do something on our own, and we set up Aidan Browne and Company, Dunleary. Right. And that went quite well, but it was hard. It was tough going. Pierce is very, very strong in litigation, and I had real estate was sort of where my interests and strengths were, and it worked, and it worked quite well. But of course, in the interim, during all of that, while all that was going on, I married my wife now of 45 years. I hope I got that right.
You better get that right, and you better get that.
If she ever listens. But Jill, who is a
saint, Jill. She's a saint, Aidan. She's a saint.
Well, she knew when to apply the handbrake on me, which was really my savior many times. Dragged me out of the fire. But so Jill and I married, and in fact we had 2 kids in Dublin. And so there was always a bit of a tug back to America, and I had met these 2 individuals, partners in a law firm in Boston. They were working on a litigation transaction, and they were sort of encouraging. I got my invitation to come and join their firm was phrased like this. Margaret Marshall, who she went on to become Margaret's magnificent person. She went on to become chief judge of the Massachusetts Supreme Court, and asked me to testify at her nomination hearings, which was one of the biggest honors I've ever had in law. But Margaret said, we're dragging in any warm bodies we can find off the street. So I said, well, listen, I'll qualify on one count there, right? The warm body part. But anyway, that was it. And so after lengthy discussions, and we decided to pack up and come over in 1986, join that firm, and that firm imploded. And I'd never heard of a law firm imploding before. It was half of the practice was in real estate, the other half, which was where my interest lay, and the other half was a junk bond practice representing the brilliant gurus from New York, the bonfires of the vanity boats.
Drexel, Burnham, Lambert types.
You got it. That was it. They were one of the number one client of that firm, Michael Milken and Ivan Boesky. And so both those sectors imploded, and the firm went from, at the time, considered fairly large, was about 180 lawyers, down to 40. And I'm left dangling. Fortunately, was working with a client that was doing a lot of development around the city of Boston, and his minions, I was the bag carrier, and his bag carriers introduced me to Sullivan and Worcester, where I've been now a partner for the last 25 years. And it's an incredible, again, a little bit like the letter from Aran, this one introduction, because Sullivan had been doing this developers corporate and tax work for many years, not this development work. So that's how I ended up over here. I did get to thank, it's wonderful to been able to live this long and finally get around to thank people who have had the kind of influences over my life. Richard Backer was that individual, incredible individual who stayed with that developer, went to Washington, D.C., did the famous Landsberg property development project down there, left and decided he wanted to become a rabbi.
Wow.
And did that for a little while and gave that up. And Richard has since been spending all of his time with the dying, and just one of the most remarkable individuals. And it took LinkedIn, thank God, he surfaced on that. And I had my opportunity to meet Richard just 2 years ago, and we went out for dinner together and we chatted, and I had that wonderful moment to be able to thank him for that introduction. Without that, God knows where I'd be. Similar to the Leaving Cert result.
What does Irishness mean to you, Aidan?
Being Irish? It means a lot. I'm very proud of being Irish.
Does it become more of a pride thing when you live abroad than we'd have it here, for example?
Yeah, no, definitely. Because you tend to, your life is consumed by where you are, right? And the environment you're in, the economy you're in, the profession you're in, or the work you're in. And yeah, you'll start seeing Ireland through a much narrower lens, but you get a pretty sharp focus into things that I think when you're there, you tend to overlook. The art, the culture, the people, right? That's it. I don't go, much as my work has been a lot of my work has been in foreign investment with the Goodbody folks, and the work we do here at Sullivan in international law, international tax advisory work, etc. It's really not about the Celtic Tiger, and it's not about the Americanization of Ireland. I've got that in spades over here: scale and profit and share price and EPS and all that kind of great stuff. It's really about the people, and it's about the environment too. As I was saying earlier, I spend a lot of time in County Kerry, maybe four visits a year now, and there's something that really reaches deep down into the soul when I'm in Kerry, and it just gets better. I go out to the Skellig from time to time, and there's something really moving when I and
becomes more emotive when you come back from abroad as well. You see things in kind of heightened colour because you don't see it every day. You kind of learn to appreciate it more. Whereas here we take it for granted because we believe most days it's raining.
Yeah. No,
which it has been recently, but to be fair,
yeah, I saw it was raining in County Kerry every day so far this year.
Yeah, it's been 6 weeks.
But I love the preoccupations with weather and all those sort of things.
It's part of our daily chat.
Yeah, it is. But the fun, the lightheartedness, all of that is.
And does the botany come in handy with your golf game, or is your golf game straight up the middle and on the green in regulation?
I like to think I stay down the middle. No, but I'm a very frequent visitor into the lushness of the stuff you find down around Waterville and Hogs Head. We joined this place called Hogs Head as well, which is extraordinary addition to hospitality.
I know a man who was invited. Has he showed up yet, Mr. Spring?
And comfort. Oh yeah, no, Mr. Spring and I have, and actually his two nephews, Graham, who is the general manager at Duke's now.
Oh, is he?
And was a former European Tour player, as you probably know.
Yeah.
Graham, and Paddy Doyle is his other nephew. Paddy is from Waterville and a fabulous golfer. It's such a treat to be hanging out with those great golfers, but it's always a treat to hang out with Dick. We've been friends going all the way back to those Lansdowne years. And Dick, like myself, married an American. So
That's right.
Jill and Christy would have an awful lot in common, and a lot to talk about, particularly back in those years too, when getting a telephone was really hard. Finding a telephone box that you used to tap or something to make a call across to the US. Yeah, no, we keep in touch, and there's always great conversation with the real Taoiseach stuff.
And could you make a career in rugby based on your Lansdowne achievements or not?
No.
Okay, we can clear the record for that.
But I was there for one of the Six Nations matches last year and went into Lansdowne for a pint afterwards. And there I am. I'm up on the wall on the left-hand side. It stands out. It was the Mourne Cup winning team led by the great Eddie O'Connor. Eddie, who was just a remarkable individual in so many ways, apart from his super career. But it stands out, Ross. If you're ever in there yourself, have a look. It's on the stairs on the way into the bar, and it's the only one that's in black and white.
So if I'm walking out and forget to see on my way in, I'm not colorblind. It is black and white.
You're not going colorblind. No, that's it. That's the one. And there was a fabulous group of individuals. There was the blend of the old guys coming down from the first team. This was third age, the Mourne Cup, right? And we had young fellas coming up, guys like myself and Rory Smith and John Conley and Martin Deasy. And then we had the guys coming down who were really good. Johnny Mitchell and Eddie, of course. Eddie played for Connacht in his day. But there was a guy from New Zealand, and his name was Greg Doolan. And Greg had an earring. How about that in the 70s?
Wow.
Yeah, playing rugby. Mm. And he gave the earring in during matches. I just wondered how he didn't get his ear torn off. But they were wonderful times. And you know, we played our final in Donnybrook and against Wellesley and beat them. I had a try.
Disallowed.
But when you hear this, I had a foot in touch. Oh. It was taken away. Yeah.
And the TMO said the TMO spotted it.
I have to tell you, I still think about that foot in touch because I didn't have to put my foot in touch. You know, it's lingered with me for over 50 years.
Give yourself a break. Give yourself a break.
I can't get over it. But can you imagine dropping a ball or something like that, playing for Ireland or something, the torture that puts you through?
Has being Irish been a hindrance or a help? You know the traditional stories you like to banter, no Irish didn't apply, Boston was this, that and the other, living abroad. Being Irish, I mean, I know my experiences. I want to know what your experiences were. Was that a hindrance, a help, or did you get in the way at all?
It was unbelievably important. And particularly, you know, as many people would point out, you know, with my line of bullshit, particularly, it went so far in terms of relationship building and network building. I have a lot of network capital, and I invest that capital every day. And no, you're the guy to this day. I'm still the guy who stands out. You know, he's the Irish guy. He's the guy with the funny accent. And accents, I don't know how I've picked up everything you could possibly pick up in America except the accent. And it's not that I try not to pick it up. I just never had an ear for it. And probably also the fact that literally back in Ireland every 2 months, you know, for the last 35 years or something.
Well, you can imagine what would happen if you came back and started parking your car. You know, you'd be sent back in a box.
Oh, let's stop it. I have a nephew out in Colorado, and he's got the twang, that mid-Atlantic thing, and he gets all sorts of dogs abuse in the song. Yeah.
And resilience. Does resilience mean anything to you, or do you think that's a manufactured word these days?
No, well, if I look back on my own journey, I would say I had to be very resilient over the years. I think about, you know, overcoming the academic challenges, and I was a terrible student, you know, it was really brutal. Part of that was that I was dyslexic.
I was going to say,
undiagnosed dyslexic. So, and what a business, what a career to go into with trouble reading, you know what I mean?
Well, to get through, I was going to say even get through commerce in effect, because some of those subjects dyslexia wouldn't lend itself or would be helpful, you know?
Yeah, but there were lots of reading when it came to law, and of course I went to law school twice. I might be the only Irish guy that passed 2 bars without going into either of them.
Like legal bars, you want to say, lawyers.
Yeah, but so those sort of challenges were there, you know, as you overcome them and you keep moving, and resilience. Yeah, it's, you know, I mean.
But have you had any kind of major failures or flops beyond the academic in a later life that you've had to dig deep and come back from, which could go into that category, or has everything been rock and roll?
The big one career-wise was when that first law firm I joined in Boston called Saplar and Bach, when it failed, I that was enormously challenging. I had to reset everything. Also, having to go back to law school, coming to the States, because my advice on the way over was I could waive in. I didn't have to go back and get a Juris Doctorate degree, which is what I ended up having to do. Those sort of challenges. Since then, listen, I've been blessed. You know, I mean, I'm the luckiest person on the planet. I think I've always acknowledged that. I'm very conscious of how lucky I've been. And there's some people say you make your own luck, but I would say, Rossa,
you're locked into a lot of things you can't change. Weather, traffic. Hey, stay in your lane. Your wireless carrier's latest price hike. But you can unlock a better way. Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. Switch to the $25 a month unlimited wireless plan. No contracts, no price hikes, and you keep your phone. Stop being locked into their games. Unlock the savings at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line of payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months on the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.
To be honest, I think that my particular skill set is recognizing values and quality in people.
Yeah.
And I've been fortunate to always surround myself with extraordinary people. My partners here at Sullivan Worcester are just really exemplary folks, very, very bright people who have a very strong sense of ethics and responsibility. And so I would say I've just been blessed. I really have. Family is fabulous. You know, we've got 3 kids. I saw the pictures of your daughters. I similarly have 2 girls. Between them and Sam, the 3 of them now, they've produced 7 grandchildren for us. And they range in ages from 12 down to 2. And it's addiction.
That changes your worldview or your perspective of life?
Yeah, completely.
And what is it about it, Aidan, that changes?
Well, all the shit that you think is
important.
Really important, it's really not.
Yeah.
And in our 2 hours spent with those guys, I have 2 baby seats in the back of my fancy car over here, and I just go pick them up and go for a spin, and we have the best chats and conversations. It's all in your future, and you can look forward to it. It's amazing.
And what inspired you to get involved in UCD in North America? Whereas when I met you in the early 90s, and you're still kind of involved with Smurfit.
Yeah, Senator Morris Manning, who is an extraordinary individual also.
He taught me politics. He's a great man. I canvassed for him, I think it was 81 or something, for Fine Gael. Yeah, in the north side in Darndale, when Bobby Sands was in strike, and going around Dublin south side as canvassing for Fine Gael in Darndale with Morris Manning was a challenge. I learnt what real life was about.
Yeah, Morris. I was also in my past, and there's a story behind it. But I was president of Fine Gael in North America,
Away.
So before you paint me into a box or into a corner on that one, it was because I understood the what's called the FARA regulations. It's the Foreign Agents Registrations Act in the US.
Yeah.
And I figured out the regulations and what needed to be done if you were a foreign political party looking to raise money in the US. Yeah. So anyway, that's how I ended up as president of Fine Gael, because John Bruton, I think, was president at the time. John, we didn't have enough time to get the paperwork to sign to set up the entity here, and so I ended up. He said, "Would you do it? And we'll reform all the officers and directors at a later date." So he did that, but then it went into a black hole. So I remained. But that being said, let me add, because of my adept knowledge of the speed around the FARA regulations, I was also president of the PDs in North America and Progressive Democrats and also Labour. Well, that might have been an obvious one with Dick, but Rory Quinn was coming to do fundraising over here, and I was helping him. Another magnificent guy. But anyway, that's really been my only intersections with Irish politics, was in that regard. So back to your question, though, UCD was Maurice introduced me. Maurice and Paddy Masterson, who was a remarkable president of UCD and a real visionary. And Paddy had a great foresight and I would say, real strengths in communicating the principles of what he referred to as the Newman principles, Cardinal Newman's principles of universality. And they were eager to, they knew there was a vast number of alums in North America, but nobody had ever tapped into them. And so I was recruited by Maurice to start the program. It went from strength to strength. I mentioned at the very beginning, Rossa, the establishment of the Smurfit Graduate Business School North American Board. I worked very, very closely with a dear friend and mentor, Lawrence Crowley. One of the most remarkable individuals, had a big impact on me and my life as a friend, as much as a mentor professionally. And we set about setting up that enterprise. We also engaged with the medical alums, Trevor McGill, who is remember that name? Yeah.
Was Hugh Brady involved then?
Hugh came later. Hugh, there was Art Campbell, Art Cosgrove, who became president after Paddy retired, and then Hugh came in after that. But
Hugh was a doctor in Boston in some period.
He was.
I never met him. I played rugby with him in UCD, but I never met him. Even though for a period we overlapped. So Trevor must have known him. Joe Dalton must have known him, no?
And Joe, yeah, absolutely. Trevor was a prime mover. We excavated between Washington, D.C. and Boston at that time. Now, we're going back to the early 90s, early to mid-90s. There were over 1,000 Irish doctors.
Wow.
In between those two areas. And Trevor really did a phenomenal job in corralling them and bringing them together, and elevated the reputation of the medical school at UCD, and in the same way as Lawrence had done so for the business school. So they were the two big achievements. The alumni, we excavated, we got up to close to 4,000 or 5,000 alums. Paddy would come out and do a tour de force twice a year and visit the major cities, and we would host these black tie dinners, typically with 300 or 400 individuals. And it was before LinkedIn and emails and all that kind of great stuff and research tools that you have today, and it was pretty much word of mouth and those events which Paddy would speak at, and he had a lovely style about him. I've seen him a few times recently. He's enjoying his life. And I think he got himself a small vineyard in France. And,
wow, sounds nice.
He's down there drinking wine. He enjoyed his wine. So, yeah, that was UCD. And it opened up, obviously, an awful lot of doors in terms of my own personal network. I got to meet people from all walks of life. And I think of some of the extraordinary people. David O'Reilly, who's engineering guy, became president and CEO of Chevron.
Yeah.
George Moore, who's a phenomenal technologist and built some really significant technology firms. Martin Carey, he was a Nobel Prize candidate on a couple of different occasions for his work. Only an Irish doctor would focus on bile, but he was a biliary man. Yeah. So anyway, it was really kind of very interesting to the kinds of individuals we ended up meeting. The other adventure with Lauren.
And those types of people have changed over the 35 years you've been there. So the type of Irish people you come across.
Oh, absolutely. Changed. Yeah. Those people wore suits and ties and things like that. The very successful ones today wear black T-shirts.
Yeah, and in our time, or my time, some of the guys I hung around wore black T-shirts, but they weren't as clean as the one they are. I mean, the profile of the people, immigrants in Boston in my time, to now has changed. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
I worked for Hewlett Packard, and most of my friends didn't. Do you know what I mean? And I was very self-conscious that they thought I was fancy or something because you work for a corporation. But now that would be standard in London, Boston, Hong Kong, wherever it is. Like the type of people we're exporting are very, very different.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I would have the same sort of sensibility myself coming as a lawyer. The barriers to entry in law still remain very high, and there are very few Irish lawyers here in Boston. My vintage, I can only think of three: Jim Murray, Seamus O'Kelly, and
Seamus O'Kelly,
and remember Seamus and Anthony Fitzpatrick. But more recently, I don't come across them. Maybe I'm not on this down on the street as much as I was. You
mustn't go to Dooley's.
Mr. Dooley's is still flying. Absolutely, it's magnificent. The most Guinness sold per square foot in North America.
But it's tidy, in fairness.
Yeah, Stu Abbott is over there presiding and looking after it, and Terry behind the bar.
Wow.
Terry is a wonderful individual and as head barman and has raised a beautiful young boy who's gone on to college and going on to great things, all on a Mr. Dooley's salary. So it's still doing great things. It hasn't changed a bit. I think the only thing they've changed since you were here, Rossa, are the light bulbs.
That's a long time ago in Paris. Music. Does music mean anything, Aidan? Are there songs that have traveled with you through your life that take you places, good, bad?
Yeah.
Music. You don't have to sing them now, but just remember.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. That was the anthem in the house with the kids. Our house is a very, very fine house. Yeah. With two cats in the yard. That whole period, and it's fabulous to see these acts now doing probably their swan songs and final tours. I was a great man for the Grateful Dead. Loved the Grateful Dead.
Well, you were a deadhead, were you?
I was a bit of a deadhead. Continue to be a deadhead. I have a trouser belt, when there's the dead skull on it. I like the Dead. But I also, it was a great time. Music at the time when I came to the States first, music was a huge part of my interest and love of America. Stevie Wonder's Songs in the Key of Life, that 3-album set that he did was just extraordinary. But then we had Supertramp and we had Live Aid. We played Live Aid now every Christmas with the kids, and we marvel at the look of the folks as much as the songs. But Bob was the man, obviously, and your Bob, our Bob, he's what he did in that program was just really off the charts. I actually was fortunate. Jill and I were over in London, and we were at the Live 8 concert, which was the follow-up one.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a great experience. But music, the Irish music is also important. My great friend since passed away. You remember Brian O'Donovan?
Yeah.
I presume.
So he used to play the trad music on Sunday night on whatever W something.
Yeah, on WGBH.
Yeah.
Brian is the absolute leading authority in the world on Celtic music. So he developed a program at the Burren over in Cambridge, Somerville, and the Burren is a fabulous venue. And at the back of the Burren, you'll have I recently went to see Andy Irvine play.
He's on tour, yeah.
Oh, it was absolutely spectacular, which really brought me back to my
Actually,
UCD
Paul
days.
Brady was commenting on that. I think it was Paul Brady. He can't believe.
Here's how to stay alive longer so you can enjoy Boost Mobile's unlimited plan with a price that never goes up. Do not mistake a wasp nest for a piñata. Stay alive and switch now at Boost Mobile. After 30 gigs, customers may experience lower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan.
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think spreadsheets were just part of it. Ugh. But real-time cash flow? Wow. Invoices that chase themselves? Even better. Books that automate? That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No spreadsheet in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search XERO for your free trial. Conditions apply.
And he's still on the road. And he's no young man. He's still packing his bag and going all over the world.
It's amazing. And his repertoire, the songs he sings too, the lyrics go on and on and on. It's I was marveling at his ability to recall and stamina as well. Sharon Shannon comes and plays there. Some, that music. When I was back in UCD days, Planksty would play fairly regularly. Yeah. And you look at where all those individuals went with their music and styles, from Christy Moore to Andy Irvine.
I saw them in 78, 79 in UCD.
I love Paul Brady's voice, that Donegal, raspy, gorgeous stuff, and Arthur McBride, bring a tear to a glass eye. Some of these beautiful.
And poetry, is there any writers of phrases, poems, or sayings that give you strength or reminders?
My brother is a poet, Terry, published, and he publishes under the nom de plume of Hey Machine. And Hey Machine, and in parentheses is a small E. Yeah. So say that fast in your head there a few times, Russell, and what do you get? Hey Machine. Hey Machine. So you should try and get a copy, or I'll send you one. So Terry is the poet in the family. I enjoy it. I have.
Where are you in the family? You in the middle?
No, I'm the youngest of 7. You probably could always tell that. Spoiled, rotten, and
had it easy,
envied by them all. Yeah. So I had the great pleasure of being on a flight with Seamus Heaney. He wrote a few lines for me, which I treasure, and it was a little bit of sarcasm in it. I loved it.
Can you quote them? Nope.
Off the top of my head, it started with something like, it was back in the day when Aer Lingus, if you had the right relationships, you could get bumped up to the to the pointy end of the plane, right? And I'm sitting up there, and there's an empty seat beside me, and the next thing, who appears, only Seamus Heaney, the great Seamus Heaney. And we drank a lot of whiskey, and we had great conversations across the board. And I was explaining to him that curriculum that our kids were engaged in high school here, secondary school, included his work. Right. So he was skeptical of that. He thought I was making it up, which I might have been, but anyway.
It sounded good.
It sounded great, So he wrote one of the opening piece. He wrote 2 little stanzas for me, but the first one started with, and I won't be able to quote the whole thing, but it started with, I was shifted up once and then sat down next to Aidan Browne.
That's quality.
And then he goes on to say, who tells me? And he put that in italics. Yeah. He said, who tells me his kids know who I am? So I'll send you a copy. I have a copy of it. I treasured those, the handwriting on a yellow pad that I happen to have in my bag. Poetry.
And in closing then, how would you reflect on your life? Not that it's over, but looking back, are you surprised where you got to? Is this part of your plan? And we look back and say, how the hell did I get here? Where did the time go? What is your outstanding sensation or feeling?
Spoke of how lucky I've been lucky in marriage, lucky with family, lucky with my own family back in Ireland. All 7 of us are thriving, and being the youngest of that, several siblings in their 80s. I think I live life pretty intentionally. I recognize that the people around us is what makes our lives valuable. And I've just been blessed with great people, great relationships. Here we are, Ross, you and I speaking after all these years. It just seems like yesterday. And I said, people are just at the core and at the essence of my life. And I'm grateful for all those friendships, all those relationships, and long may they continue.
And you're still a Paddy at heart.
Can't get over it. Stuck with it.
For good or for bad.
Stuck with it, exactly. I look forward to raising a few pints with you back in Dublin. I'm coming over for the Scotland match, and I'll make a point of connecting with you, Ross.
You get your people to call my people, will you?
I will.
And we can do lunch. Aidan Browne, thank you for joining us today on Aran and This.
That new thing? Yeah, we've got it. The Drop by GNC, bringing you all the newness that matters. Handpicked by the pros who actually know what's up and what's proven to work. We keep you on top of the trends and dialed into what's next. Whether you're crushing it at the gym, leveling up your game, or thriving every day, The Drop by GNC is where the latest solutions in health and wellness land first. Non-stop innovation and fresh finds daily. Explore what's new and what's next on The Drop by GNC.
You're locked into a lot of things you can't change. Weather, traffic. Hey, stay in your lane! Your wireless carrier's latest price hike. But you can unlock a better way. Unlock the savings at Boost Mobile and save up to $600 a year. Switch to the $25 a month unlimited wireless plan. No contracts, no price hikes, and you keep your phone. Stop being locked into their games. Unlock the savings at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line of payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months on the Boost Mobile unlimited wireless plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Business is booming. But you know what really helped? Xero, the accounting platform for small businesses. I used to think unpaid bills were just part of it. Ugh. But batch payments? Wow. Automated accounts payable? Even better. All in one place. That's a big one. And I can keep track from my phone while I get the job done. No bills in sight. What a life. Do right by yourself and your business and search Xero for your free trial. Conditions apply.